Hello everyone. In this video, I want to show you a new feature from Noteey and from Heptabase and compare these two features to each other. Heptabase and Noteey are two different visual note-taking applications that I've been using for a while now here, and they almost seem to be in this arms race where they're releasing some similar features, and the tools somewhat look alike, but they do differentiate themselves in certain areas. But this is one of those areas where they've released a similar feature, and I want to compare with the two of these different competitors here. So if you're looking at this particular feature and maybe it's going to be a deciding factor on which one of these apps you go to, or you just want to get some more information on how to leverage these features within these apps, then go ahead and watch this video. All right, so we're going to start out of the gate with Noteey here, and the web feature in here is in the side pane. This is different from the Heptabase's web viewer, where it originates from the left-hand side pane in the search area here, where this becomes an address bar or URL bar that you typically see in a web browser. But Noteey has released theirs to be in the side pane, and it's in the side pane only here from what I can see. Now, if you want to get into this, all you have to do is click on this little icon here that shows basically the World Wide Web, and it brings you to your default page. Now, the default page can be configured. So if you go into the settings, you go into web viewer here, you can put in a URL, and you can also change your default search engine within the Noteey's implementation of this. But if you go back here into the web viewer here on the side pane, we can see that it gives you a little browser here, and it drops you into the default search engine. You do have some bookmarks that you can set up here, which is pretty nice. This is something you cannot do over in the Heptabase's implementation of the web viewer right now, but you can come in here, and when you go to a web page, you can star it, and then you can bookmark over here. You can come in here and you can open up bookmark from your library. So within Noteey, if you save a link to a board, you can add this to your library, and then you can store these things. So this is good for future use. If you see any web links, typically what you would do is put those in a bookmark in a browser. But if you want to save those here in your visual note-taking app, you can do that with Noteey. And these are objects within the library that's reusable. So you can come in here and quickly do those using there. And let me see a couple other things in here. You can open in the default browser versus opening something up here. So if I open that up, you'll see on the side here, my browser opened up, where if you start off in Noteey and you want to go to your default browser outside of the Noteey app, then you can do that easily. I did show you the settings. You can get to the settings from here. I did notice one typo here where they have zoom in, reset zoom, and then room out instead of zoom out. So this is something that you'll need to just tweak on their end. And then if we come in here and just start looking at some of the use cases here. So if I was to go to a website, Productivity Matters, click on one of these blogs, and we have some text here. Typically, if you're doing some research or looking for content, you're more than likely going to be looking for a couple of different types of content, in my opinion, or at least from my use case. It's going to be text, or it's going to be images, and in some cases, it's going to be video. Now, let me open up an actual board here. And if you want to get these texts into your library, because this is still in the browser here, in the web viewer, you can't right click on this and do anything with it. But you can either copy and paste it, or you can click on it, hold it, and then start dragging it to the board. And when I drop it here on the board, you'll see that nothing happens. So it doesn't put it there. But if you need to drop it in an element, I'm going to put a sticky note here on the board. And if I put that there, I do the same action. I hover over the sticky note, and then I try to actually, let me click in there and do that again. You can see that there's a blue line and a cursor that you can see there. Whether you have either one, once you see where that is, you can just drop the content that you're dragging over into there. Now, one thing when you do this over in Noteey, what happens is it might create a card for you by default. So this information that gets pulled over could get created as a card. Now, if you don't want that, you will preferably need to copy and then paste it. And for sure, it's just going to come over as text. If I come in here in this card, let me see what will happen if I just leave the card here. This is all title, and this is going to be the content of that card. Let's go to another section here. We'll drag and we will hold this. And let me click in there and then come over here and do this and see if that'll work. It is a little tricky here. So click it, hold it for a couple seconds, and then come over here and drag it in. You can see that cursor looks like it's behind the actual note there. Not sure if you can see it, but I'll try to put an arrow on there when I'm editing the video. And if I drop that in there, it does drop it in. So a little bit weird on where that cursor was showing, but it did actually drop this in here, and it didn't create a card for it, as you can see in this case. For some reason, when I dragged it into the sticky note here, it did create a card. A little bit odd on that particular case there. If you come in here and let me go in here and give some more space this time, take another section here, drag it in, and you see how I'm not getting the cursor. I can't really see the cursor inside of this note here. And I think this is mainly a bug because I can see a blue line right behind the card. And I'll probably need to point that out using an arrow in the, when I'm editing the video, but I can come in here and I can drop that in and it put it in there. And this is, you can see it's a little bit weird here where it did create a card in this case. So it seems, we'll go ahead and I'm going to delete this. And because it created a card, remove it from library there. And what I'm going to do here is drag this over again. We will take a different section here. I'm going to move it over. And instead of the blue line, like we can see here, I'm going to go for a cursor, and then I'm going to drag and drop, and we can see that still. So it doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason on why it's creating a card for these here, because you can see that one time it did it, another time it did not. So this is the behavior here is a little bit out of the norm or expected. So I would not want a card for this entire thing here. I'd rather just come in here, have this as being text. And if this is text, then I can easily select what I want and I can click the new card there, which is pretty easy here in Noteey. Now, another thing that I've noticed here as well is, let's go to YouTube. And before I do that, let's see if we have a video here. So we do have a video in this one. And I want to show the experience of dragging a video. And we see that this just changed on me, and all I did was hit the enter keys for this to go down over here. So there's a little bit of weirdness going on here. And let me go back, and what I'm going to do is take this image and I'm going to drop it over here. And we can see it dropped into the card right there, but it also dropped an image right behind that card where I've been seeing those cursors as I drag things over. So it's a little finicky when you're dragging stuff onto a board and trying to get stuff into an element or object on the board. Because if I come in here and I just expand this out, I'm pretty sure I can just drag this in here. We can see both the cursor and then that blue line. and I can drop it there and we should be good. If I go back, I should not see two images. So another thing you might want to do is go into YouTube, and you might want to grab a video here and then just take the link or grab it as an embed to drop into your document or on the board itself. And if I come in here and I'm in the document, but what I've noticed here is if I click and hold, just like I did before on the text when I select it, and then move the mouse, you can see that image starts to come free of the web viewer there. If I move it over into the document there, I can easily drop that image, and it just takes the image and it puts it in this document. If I go to the board and let's go ahead and give ourselves some room there, and I do the same thing over again, it drops the image to the board here. So this is a nice feature. If you want to get the link here, you would have to come in here, hit share, and grab the link. But another thing that I've noticed is that pop-ups, for whatever reason, these type of pop-ups, all they do is give us this little spin of the wheel, and they do not open up fully. So that didn't open up. If I was to click on my little icon there, that would not open up. So there's something with these pop-ups that are not working here in Noteey. So another feature that you get with the web viewer in Noteey that you do not get with Heptabase is that you're able to add the web link objects from the whiteboard into the viewer on the sidebar. So let's take a look at how that works. I have 3 web links here, and they're set up as bookmarks. And I'm going to add this to the sidebar using this icon. Click that button and it sends it over to the sidebar. Let's go ahead and do the others here. And I've added all 3 of these, the 3 new ones, plus the default Google one that was already there. Now you will notice that they're overlaying each other. It's like there's multiple layers and they're all transparent, and you can see all the way back through to the Google tab that I had here and some of the other information from the other tabs that I added here. They're all just overlaying on each other. So this kind of goes back to one of the points I've made about Noteey, and when they release a feature, sometimes they're not as fully baked, and you end up with some of these weird scenarios or bugs that you see here. If I click on the actual tab, then it fixes that issue, but you can tell on the initial go ahead there that it wasn't optimal. But it's still a feature that is different from what you can get over in Heptabase, where I haven't seen that you can add tabs yet, but again, this is software, so maybe that's something they'll add over in Heptabase at some point. So that's going to be the Noteey side of things. Let's go ahead and switch over into Heptabase and see what the user experience is with Heptabase's web viewer. Okay, so we're over at Heptabase now, and let's go ahead and see what the web viewer experience is here in Heptabase. Now, in order to get that web viewer going, what we need to do is come up here and do a search, and I can do a search similar before to the activematters.com web page here. And actually, I did not the web page. The thing here, when you do it in the search, you will get multiple options for searching within Google, searching within chat, and different areas within the application, not just the web itself. So you have to make sure you're clicking on the actual link, or that link is selected for the web viewer part of it. So go ahead and click into that same blog post that we had before. And I have some stuff here we're going to remove so we can see this in real time. I'm going to select. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click it, drag it, and then move it over into the other side there. Same thing here. Click, drag, and we're there. And this goes well. It's fine as far as you're getting the text that you wanted over in there. If I click on the image there, You want to put the image in between those. That image gets pasted in there as well. Now, one differentiator with the Noteey side of things is, let me go into see if this will let me, and it's not going to let me. At least I'm pretty sure there is no board view like there is in Noteey for that side pane. So we got the journal, we got the calendar, we got the library here, we got chat. In Noteey, you're able to open up the board and the web viewer side by side. Let me go into a whiteboard here. And what I'm going to do is, let me see if I do a find. Here, I'm just going to go find here. Let's see what we get. So I'm not getting an option for the actual browser going on there. Let me do it here. See if we can bring up the same web page and forward. And if I click on it, it replaces the whiteboard. I'm not sure that we can even open up the whiteboard here. We can open it and put it on text. I'm going to have to do a little digging to see if there is an option for having the web viewer and one of your whiteboards open side by side. So if you want to just drag and drop images and text directly onto the whiteboard itself. But over here, we can see that it actually did come in and it copied the information fairly easy. It did not create a new card for these here, and it put it on within the journal here as text and as an image as it should. If we go into YouTube just to see the experience, so if you're looking for YouTube video and you're looking to maybe take notes on it, you get a different experience here. One, you get a fuller, richer, I think, experience as if you're in an actual browser. So like I can click here on the side pane when I'm in this YouTube, and let me come in. Oh, I'm going to bring up the Noteey here again and show what the experience is here. I'm going to open it up, give it some more room. And if I was to click on that side pane, you can see that side pane does not open the way you would expect it to be if you're in a browser. If I was to come here, and let's try to put these here somewhat side by side, we can see just the way these look. And I'm simply sitting on youtube.com here. And yeah, you can see that even the look is different from the viewer here versus the viewer here in Heptabase. So the web viewer is different and they do act different. If I want to try to take an image, click on here and then move this over in the image, it does not allow that over in Heptabase. When I hover over, if you have the automatic preview or preview and hover enabled within YouTube, then you can see that the images or videos are playing. This does not happen over in Noteey. So if this is an experience that you like a little bit more, then yeah, you can get it over in Heptabase. Now, there are a couple other benefits that you get using the Heptabase's web viewer that you don't get with Noteey. And this is really an unfair advantage here because Heptabase has implemented the AI within their product and Noteey does not have AI. In this case, this does give Heptabase a leg up if you're looking to have AI implemented within your tool instead of having an external capability for leveraging AI. And if you using the web browser or the web viewer here, you can use the web viewer to where you maybe have content up here. And if you open up let's go into the library here, and you want to find any other content within your library that's similar to the content within the browser, you can just click on this AI suggestions button here within the library pane here, and it will bring up other content that's similar or related to the content in the web page. And then you can also bring up the chat and it will use the page that you have here in the web viewer as context for your AI chat. This is very convenient to have all this stuff in one place. Now, this can greatly improve the efficiency of your workflows instead of jumping in and out of different applications when you're looking to get more insights out of that information. And then also then bring it back within to your notes. I think this is a really good option here. The only thing that I think is missing from the implementation that Heptabase has here is I don't see a side-by-side view where I can open up a whiteboard and have that here as well. So I can get information out of the web page and then move it into directly into a board instead of having to put it into one of the cards and then grab that card, put it on the board, and then do it that way. Now, we can also see that if I click on a link here and I click share, pop-up comes up as you would expect. If I was to click over here on my name, pop-up will come up and you can see everything as you would expect to see it. So the difference and this is like with a lot of other features that you would see between Noteey and between Heptabase, is that the Heptabase features, when they're released, they seem to be released with a little bit more polish. You get a better initial experience when you're using the same feature in Heptabase versus when you use it in Noteey. Some of the time they're a little bit more buggy and the experience will be a little bit different. Now, that's not always the case, but more times than not, my experience has been when I'm using Heptabase, things typically just work. I don't have any weird type of experiences, but when I'm using Noteey, there are cases where there are things that just does not work the way you would expect it. You may have to close the app or refresh the view in order to get things to kick back into gear after, it wigs out a little bit. All right, that's going to be it for this video. If you like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And until the next time, have a nice day.